Okay, hi. My name is Juan Rojas or Tony Rojas, and I'm going to show you now the program that is an inventory management system that essentially consists of capturing information for each product, putting that product in the database, um, and then showing or displaying the product. It also involves all the CRUD operations such as create, update, delete, read, display all the images on all the products on a table, um, and update all the products. Now I did a video identical, except that it was about an hour long last night, and I had a bug. And the problem is I had put a pause in my code. I was running the program and I had put a little red dot to pause the running, and of course it didn't update, and I was like, what happened? But anyway, I fixed that. It's easy. One thing I didn't show yesterday is the testing of all the parts of the program. I'm going to show that now. I'm going to show you the program all over again. And again, this is an inventory program. Now, the story of the program is simple. It started as a server, I mean not a server, as a database user. And of course, it's an inventory, so you put the inventory. Then to do all the crowd operations. Then I decided to do multiple users and get a manager, an admin, to keep this into one server and have different clients that will log into the server. And that involves something called secure security with trust stores and client stores. So essentially the server acts as a restaurant, and there's a metro D. It says table for whom, and okay, no, I don't have you in the list, I'm sorry. Only reservations are accepted. Or like I mentioned yesterday, back in the old days, in the bootlegging days, people used to knock on the door and say, what's the password? And you would say whatever password, and they let you in or don't let you in. Now, the client also has a password that they need to check to see if they are talking to the right server. They could be talking to the wrong server, and they will be giving the right information to the wrong person. So the client has to have a trust store, and the server has to have a key store. No, I'm sorry. Server has to have a trust store, and the client is a key store. And there's a certificate, a server certificate that I also created. It's easy. It's on Wikipedia. It's a DOS command. I forgot what it is, but it begins with the key store command, and then you create whatever, and it gives you the date is for about a year. It's like a cookie, and then the location, the city and state, etc. But anyway, once we create that, we can establish the communication between the server and the client in a secure manner. Now the client is connecting, or the server is connecting to the database through a password, and that has to be encrypted. And the best encryption that I found right now is something called bcrypt. SHA-256, 128.256 came around the same time. Bcrypt came in '99, and essentially what it does is it encrypts something up to I forget how many levels, but it would take, depending on the length of the password, it would take if it's a small password, it would take about a week or a month to do it. But if it's a decent password, 7 to 10 digits, it would take about a year to 10 years. And if it's a long password, like 12 to 14, 10 to 15, it would take about 1,000 years to decrypt. And if it's more than that, it would take about 1,000,000,000 years to decrypt. One of the things that bcrypt has is cost, and that makes it even harder. The higher the cost, the harder it is to decrypt the password, even if you have a dictionary or a rainbow table. And then on top of the cost, there's something called salting, which even enhances the cost process. Now, on top of those three things, I put a limit of how many times can a person try to log in. So if you try to log in more than 5 times, you get kicked out and say sorry, try again later, or talk to your system administration. Anyway, let me start a program. Right now I have the OBS running, so I'm going to start recording and then minimize this. And all I have right now is just the table. I'm going to use this table, using the table and run the products. And there you go. That is the product table that I have. I also have users in this database. Select all the users. Those are my users. Now check the passwords. The passwords are all encrypted with bcrypt. Okay? And they're hashed, actually. I'm sorry, they're hashed. And you don't want to store passwords in the database because somebody can access your database and then steal the password. And then later on they can log in with that password. That's happened to many companies. That's why I hashed it with an algorithm that is really good. Then we store the hash. If somebody gets the database, copies the hash, they try to log in with the hash, they cannot. The hashing works in only one way. So when I type in the right password, it gets hashed, it gets compared to the hash password on the server, on the database, and then it allows me to get in. If I type in a hash, it will get rehashed again and it will not match what is on the database. Anyway, and then I also have a table of suppliers. Okay, I only have 2-3 suppliers, that's nothing. The point is, I want to show you how the system works. And we're going to start IntelliJ. Okay, it's coming up. And we're going to start, first we need to start the server and then we start the client. Okay, here we go, inventory server. So we're going to run, I was running some tests earlier. We're going to run the server, come on, it's working out. There you go, current file. Run the server. And it's going to pop up my little login, come on, run the server. There it is. My little server window here that essentially says, I'm ready to take any clients. Now, there's a thing about threading and about connecting to a server that it can connect, because the server is connected to a database, it can connect or disconnect and connect and disconnect depending on how many clients you have. Now that creates a load on the server and the database connection. So because of the load, I decided to go and open something called Hikari CP, which was invented back in, I guess, 2012. I'm not sure now. The thing is, it opens 10 basic connections through a server to a database, and those 10 connections are staying open. So Hikari CP is a connection to a database, and it opens a pool of 10 connections. Here we go. I'm going to move that away, and then I'm going to get my client, my main, which is my client server. Now I can run it through the IMS client. I rather run it through my, because I had a problem with the jar file, and so I have to run it through JavaFX run, and here it is, it's running, okay? And so the client is going to show up right here, and there it is. That is my client. I'm going to minimize this, show my Java client. Now this is the GUI that I created. Essentially it's a inventory database with when I grew up, one of the characters on TV was a coyote and roadrunner, and coyote always ordered items to kill the roadrunner from Acme. Acme was a company that had all kinds of inventory. And so I'm going to log in, and essentially I have several users, but I forgot their password, so I'm going to log in with my password, Tony1@gmail.com, and that's my username. And because I didn't want to remember another password, I just used the same username for password, which is not right, by the way. So I'm logging in, and now this is going to open my table, and that's my database. Essentially, what I have here is the same as what I have here. I'm going to run the products, and run right here, run. Boom. So these products are the same. I cannot magnify that, but they are the same exact thing as I have in this table. All right, and the advantage of my system is I don't have to see the database. Okay, the advantage of my system is that this is the database that you're looking at, and this is the program. Now, in here I can add items take items out, update an item, etc. So let me show you how it works. I have, a list of watches that I have a table for, and I have each one has an ID or SKU number or SKU ID, store keeping unit, and then it has a brand, and then it has a name, and then description, quantity, price, and totals. The total is not part of the database. It's just a calculated item of the quantity and the price. And then I did add something that tells me what I'm low in inventory. As manager, I need to know what I need to order. So for instance, I'm low in inventory on this little one. I click on it and it tells me, okay, you're low in the Lange, whatever. The SKU number is there, and I can order it from Acme, I can order it from Wax, and I can order 50 or I can order 5, and then I can put optional notes, and I can save that order, and there's my order ready to go. Now, instead of selecting all that and copying all that, what I did is I created the copy button, so I just hit the copy, and it's already on the clipboard, ready to paste in my email. Let me show you. Here's my little thingy, IMS. Let me close that. Don't want to save that. Don't want to save that. So let me open my text thingy again. And there it is. Okay, the requisition, to whom, Wax, the one that I selected. For what item? The product is Lange, the SKU number is right there, quantity 5, and the notes, optional notes. So all I have to do, like I said, is just paste this into my email. Okay, I'm not going to save it, and it goes bye-bye. Now, every time I click on an item, it selects the item, and it gives me the image of the item right there. It tells me, ooh, it's noon. It tells me right there what the item is, with an image of the item, the SKU number, the brand, etc. All this is information coming from the database. Now, this image is coming from my resources folder, source, main, resources, images, and there's all my images for my database. Now, of course, the images don't go in the database. The database only holds the address of the image, and I'll show you how that works. So let me just close all this and close that. Essentially, now once I have an item selected, I can update it or I can remove it. Okay, let me update it, which is what I couldn't do the other day because I had that pause in the program, and every time you tried it just failed. So I have quantity 5. I'm going to sell 1, so now I have quantity 4. Okay, of the Lange, the first one. Okay, I'm going to save that info. Product updated successfully, and it still says 5 in here on the database. Also, it should say 5 because I haven't run it again. But let me run it again. Select all from products, run it again, and it says 5 because I haven't updated this. It will say refresh. What happened? Refresh, it should say 4 for that Lange. It says 5. Why is it? I'm gonna have to check on this. A second, don't want to make a mistake again. That was silly. I don't know what I did. I must have pressed the wrong button because it is working. I just updated again to 1 product. It says here I run the database, Lange, it says quantity 1. And this one also says quantity 1. So there it is, quantity 1. Let me do it again, and this time I'm going to add a few. I'm going to add 9, so I'm going to have total quantity 10. I'm going to save that, update it successfully, and there it says 10. Okay, quantity 10. So this guy here should also let me run it again. It still says 1, but when I run it again, select all from products, right here, quantity 10. Okay, the first one, quantity 10. So I don't know what I'm going to do. Sorry, I probably didn't press the save button with the mouse click enough. Anyway, so let's delete it. see what happens when we delete it. So I have it selected, and first of all, let's see what happens if I don't select anything. Oh, no, I'm already on the table, so I've got one selected. Let's select the Lange one and remove the selected one. Remove, are you sure I want to remove it? Yes. One product removed. This right there is going to say removed, and it went away. Now let's run the database again. Select products. The top one that says 10 is not there anymore. Okay. So I can add a product. Okay. Let's say this is a model form that allows me to add any information I want. Let's say SKU number ABC-123. That would be the ID. Tab brand Lange again. Name Lange 1. That's a German watch. Lange 1. Description: super duper watch. Quantity 10. Let's just say quantity 1 because I want to show you the red dot. Price $1,000 and $1,000, and then image. Now this is how I go. I told you I was going to go browse for the images in the image folder, and when I click on this in the browse, immediately this folder pops up. So I don't know which one is Lange. Let's just say that one, and then save it, and it will update the database immediately. Okay, product added successfully. Quantity 1, there it is, a super duper watch. That one right there, super duper watch, added, and it's in the system, and it's low inventory. Okay, I only have one. The minimum is 10 or 5 or 10. So I can change that number anyway. So it's ready to order. I don't want to order anymore, but the point is, let me show you here in the database itself that will show run the products. Select products, run that query, and there it is, super duper watch, quantity 1. Okay, so it does contact the database, it does update, does delete. Now let's say I have 1,000 products. I'm not going to add 1,000 one by one, so I have a list that I can add. Let me just eliminate all this product. I'm going to truncate the table. Okay, now I'm going to show you here. Select all from products. I have nothing, 0. Let me refresh. This is still showing what it was there because I haven't refreshed it yet. So refreshing the table, it's going to say nothing. No products because I emptied through SQL, I emptied the database. I don't have a way of emptying the database in here yet, but I can easily add a button doing that. The point is, now I can add a list, okay, of different items. And that's a button I created called load from CSV. Is a comma separated value. The point is, in the description of the items, when I went to the websites of different watches, different brands, they always put, a paragraph with a comma, a period, a semicolon, things like that, because it's normal English. So you're describing an item, and every time you do that, you use commas to separate sentences. The thing is, it's a comma separated value. So when it's inputting this data and it reads a comma, it thinks it's a new field. And that caused me a lot of problems. So I decided to go with something called tab separated values, TSV. It's the same as CSV, but when I click on load from CSV, I get the watches table. Now if I open the watches table with my regular notepad, it's going to show you, this is my tab separated value. And the separation between one and the other is a tab. That, and that is a tab. It's not spaces. It's not a comma. Anyway, let's close that. Oops. Let's close this. And let's go ahead and load it from a CSV or TSV. There it is, watches. Okay, so I loaded all of them, and there were 2 rejected ones. Something happened. Probably, I don't know. I have to look at the tab. But there it is. It loaded up, and they're all there. Now the Lange one was not, the super duper Lange one that I added was not in my list, so it's not in the new loading But I have 5, the longer one, there it is, that were in the list. So it easily loads into the database a whole bunch of products at one point, at one time, with one click. So the add works, the remove works, the view and update works. Let me show you again. Oh no, I did show you. And now let's go back to the user. This is a products table. The users table is similar except there's pink. And I have several users. I have Jen Doe, I have Maya Harrison, Leo Navarro, John Doe, Captain Kirk. So I can update the info for Captain Kirk. So I have the ID of number 8 that cannot change. I'm going to make him an admin. Okay. And I have kirk@gmail.com, and it has to have a phone number. Each of these is going to be validated. Now I'm going to show you what happens when I have a phone number is like 1, 2, 3. It's supposed to be between 10 and 15 numbers. Like international have more than 10. Americans have usually the 1 plus 10. So you have area code is 3, and then the prefix for the city is 3, and then the number itself is 4. So that's 6 and 4 is 10. But internationals usually, or even cell phone numbers, usually have like a 1, and in America's 1. In Chile, where I'm from, is 69 or 68. And then you have your, if it's a cell phone number or landline, so it's 88 or something for cell phones, or 99 for cell phones. And then the landline, which is the same as ours. So it's a whole bunch of prefix, but it's only up to 15 digits. So in this case, I have 1, 2, 3. I'm going to save it, and it's going to give me an error. First, the password must not be empty. I didn't put a password. Okay, so password, I'm going to put 1, 2. Let me just put a whole bunch of things here. Okay, and the password. To view the password, there it is. There's my little button to view the password. And that's what I just put in the password. I have this special character I'm going to take out. Okay, because it's supposed to have an uppercase, a lowercase, and a special character. $, whatever, special symbol. And the password is going to give me an error, and the phone number is going to give me an error. So it says here, password must include lowercase, uppercase, etc. So I'm going to put here kirk@gmail.com like I did in mine, except that I'm going to replace it with kirk1, and I'm going to make the first initial K, capital K, kirk1@gmail.com. So that's going to be the password. The problem is the phone number is only 1, 2, 3. That's going to fail. Failure, error occurred. Please try again in contact manager. Failure to update the user. Never mind. Well, anyway, there's some things I have to go over this again. So, I'm going to remove Captain Kirk. Remove it, are you sure? Yes. One, removed. And there it is, he's gone. I'm going to add Captain Kirk. Name, Kirk. Password, Kirk, whatever, the same password. Email, kirk1@gmail.com. Phone number, 10 digits, except for that last one. I'm going to make him a manager, an admin. Name, just Captain Kirk. Captain Kirk. Can't even type. Captain Kirk. And admin and save. Account created for Captain Kirk. Please click refresh. In the products, I have a refresh activated. In this one, I have to click refresh. So there it is, number 9. Remember, 8 was one that I had there and I deleted it. But 9 is a new one. So the database itself is an auto increment for ID numbers. Now for products, the ID number is skewed, so it cannot be an auto increment. But I cannot touch it anyway. The point is, I got adding and I got deleting. I gotta check on the updating because I thought the updating was okay. Now it says here, select one to update, to change. So let me see, to view her is right there. And the new password, if I want to put a new password, let's put Captain Kirk's password. And let me see Captain Kirk's password. Yeah, kirk1@gmail.com. That's a valid password. It's still not updating. Oh no, maybe I still have a code problem. By the way, all my code is very clearly explained in the other video, an hour-long video. I don't want to make this too long. So anyway, I gotta go over the code, and maybe there's another pause button on the updating. I did that yesterday. Let's go back to the suppliers. My suppliers are green, and I also have the same thing. Add a supplier. Okay, I'm gonna go company. What's going on? Company Acme. Oh, 1 second. 1 second. Sorry, that was FedEx. Got my new keyboard and a whole bunch of other stuff. Anyway, let's get down to this. So we're here in the users. I'm adding a new supplier, Acme. Contact John. 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 Phone number. Any phone number, 10 digits. Email. john@acme.com. Address 123, any street, etc. Notes, any notes, okay? Add it successfully, and then it should come up here. Acme John number 8, okay? So we have one more supplier, we have a contact and an email, so it's easy to contact Johnny now. Now, let's delete Mr. John, okay? Remove the one selected. Okay, are you sure you want to remove John from Acme? Yeah. So, one supplier removed, and it's gone. So, this one has an auto refresh. I can log out. I'm going to log in again. What was Kirk? User email, I think it was captainkirk@gmail.com. I think it was just one. Kirk@gmail.com with lowercase, and log in. No response received, failure, invalid email password. I forgot what it was. I'm sorry, it may have been Kirk one. Log in. Yeah, it was Kirk one. So it's logging in right now as Kirk. I can also exit the program. This button exits the program, and it's gone. Now it's still running here, but I can stop it right there. Now what I exited only was the client. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to Maven and run it, because I want to show you the testing. Okay, there's running the program again, and there it is. I'm going to log in. Kirk@gmail.com, log in. I want to show you sign up in a minute. So here's my database. Now, it's running. So while it's running, I want to do some tests. I got several tests here ready. The validation test is the most important, because the validation is what allows you to know if you put the right name, if you put the email, if you put a whole bunch of things. So I can run the whole or one by one. So I'm running the whole here, run the whole validation test as far as SKU numbers, names, empty name, the name is too short, etc. I have several validation, a lot of validations that I'm running, okay, whether it's good or not, whether it passes or not. And they all pass. The validation pass. For instance, running the login. Where's the login? Integration, that's most important. To see if all the pieces work. Integration, run the integration tests, okay, and several. For instance, tear down the client, log in as a new user, get all products, get all users, and it all passes. Okay, so, and then login FXML. Now the FXML is what really is a form that I'm presenting, what really allows you to log in. And so run that one, and running, and it all passes. No, something did not, well, the Java, because I'm running the JavaFX run, that's why the login is not running like a normal process, but it's running through JavaFX.run, and here it is, okay? So, let me log out, let me sign up as a new user, because I was Captain Kirk, and now I logged in as Kirk. Now I'm going to sign up as a new user. Okay, so it's popping up a modal window to ask me the questions about the user, which is going to validate the name, validate everything, and if it's not, it's going to tell me. Okay, Jean Doe, password, capital JEA, Jean 1 and a symbol at g.com, not Gmail. Email, let me use the same. I know. Gene 1 at g.com. Let me just to make sure that that's what I typed there. I gotta add the I on this one too, in the form. Phone number, I can type any phone number. It has to be 10 digits, could be 15, but no letters. Otherwise, give me. Oh, let's put a letter. It'll give me an error. I want to show you that. Okay, so I have a phone number. She's a staff member. I have a letter in the phone number, and it's going to reject it. The password is the same as the email. It's got a cap, it's got a lowercase, it's got a number, it's got a symbol, the at. And let's save it. And it says invalid phone number. No dashes, no or parentheses, only numbers. So I'm going to take that letter C out, and now I have 10 digits, and it's going to account created for Jean Doe. Please click refresh data. Okay, so Jean Doe is ready to log in, and I happen to put, because I don't want to remember the password, I put the password the same as the name, the email, and I'm going to log her in, and there she is. She's able to, a new user is able to access data. So a server, and I'm going to run a second client again. The server is able to run it again. The server is able to create another user. So I got Jean here running that, and I'm going to put mine. Oh, it was Kirk. Oh no, I have Jean again. Well, Jean can log in again. She can log in different places. Okay, log in, because she's a valid user. So she can log in. The only difference between, see, it says here, system logged in as Jean Doe, and she's a staff, not an admin. So I'm going to log out and log in as me, or Kirk. Kirk1 at gmail.com, and then it was the same thing for password, because I don't want to remember a password. And then log in, and there it is. And he is an admin. Captain Kirk, I put him as an admin. And the difference between the user and the admin is that the user can view other users. The admin can view other users and can change other users or add other users. The admin can also do suppliers, but the regular user, like Jean Doe here, cannot. She doesn't have those buttons available. So essentially that's my little program. Okay. All the buttons work except for the update for one of the suppliers. But all the buttons work, and the testing all work, and the system all works. The database works, the connection works. And like I was telling you yesterday, there's a lot of code that went into this. I'm going to close everything. And essentially, the inventory server is the only one connecting to the database, but the inventory will connect to the client. The server will connect to the client through an open channel on the server side, and the client has an open channel on the client side. And they're connected through what I call here Trustor. Let me see if I can make this bigger. Well, you can see it because I'm using another screen, the OBS. So the Trustor, here you go, the server key store on the client Trustor. So they're sending each other this information, and all that information is saved in the configuration properties, which is a file that is in my server. Unless I hack my server, unless I have physical access to the server, nobody can access the configuration file. And this configuration file has the SSL, the secure socket layer, for the server, which is a server key store. It also has a port, the database information, the admin to log into the database, because I need to log in as a user for the database. So I call it an admin, I put a password, and the location for the database, which in this case is localhost 3306, which is the standard MySQL address. And this is configuration for the database. This is configuration for the server. This is configuration for the client, which in this case is a local host connected to client, but you could be anywhere. It could be a www connected from China to here, to a local host. And then this is the client port 8888, and this is the client trust store. This is what allows the client, the key allows the client to open the door. And I was telling you yesterday that the password between the server and the trust store that they have to match is, I put it on lead code. And in lead code it says, I am a connection password. And lead is 1M_4_C0 and then 3C, etc., etc. So this is the configuration. This is my main file. But again, the client and server have tons of code. Everything is well described and explained. All the functions, what they do, and the steps on each function, the parameters for each function, they're all described in there step by step. And it's beautiful. I got a lot of help from Code Academy. I had a lot of help from Free Code Camp. I got a lot of help from, who else? Moss, of course, and some stuff from Stack Overflow that I did copy and paste. But pretty much, this is me. This is my little work. All right. Server client handler. What this guy does is it's connect from the client side. It connects to, from server side it connects to the client. It also connects to the database. It has an open portal database, and that is sharing with the client. And the client will connect to the server. Actually, it's not sharing to the client. It's sharing with the server, and the server will connect to the database, and the client will connect to the server client handler. And this is the client server line coming from the client to connect to the server. Everything, this is the public methods, and then I have the private methods, okay? And different things, one for users, okay? And different things for products and users. The main one is products, but also for users and suppliers. Okay, this video is getting too long. The main is the main connection. The thing is, I built this based on what they do. It's either a model class, a view class, or a controller class. Controller classes are all with 20s and up. The number one for controlling is validation, the validation class, the 20 class, that allows to see whatever you want to do, make sure it's done right, or make sure the information is sent correctly. And then the GUI class, the GUI builder, like I was saying yesterday, the builder allows me to build the grid, allows me to build the table, allows me to build everything that I put in there. The labels, the fields, the input fields, the buttons, etc. That's what the GUI class does. And I built this from scratch. And like I was telling you yesterday, I don't like to repeat code. I even did the print line instead of saying system out print line. I just wrote print line. I created a utility. Like I was telling you yesterday, my Swiss Army knife is a utility class. It has everything that I need, and repeat tons and tons and tons. It's print line, errors, exits, the hashing algorithm, and essentially the code. I'm explaining here what it does. It takes one parameter, which is a text file or text input, and it hashes it. And it's using bcrypt with a generating salt based on the cost, and it gives you the result, which is a string. Okay, and that string is the one that's going to go into the database. And I got many other utilities, but this is my program. I hope you like it. Thank you very much. You have a wonderful day. Bye.